On this video, I'm going to share with you 5 products that I usually don't buy and actually saves me thousands of money in a given month. These are typically known products by common people and they tend to ignore them but consumes a lot of money. And that's why you find that people tend to complain. Either the middle of the month or the end of the month, they say like, wow, I do not even know where my money is going and I'm always broke. All right. So, and guess what? I'm going to share with you number 1, 2, 3, up to number 5. And guess what? As always, number 5 is actually quite a popular product that consumes a lot of money, but maybe you or me or somebody else tend to ignore it, and actually that misuses your money. So, all right, so let's go to product number 1. These are promotional products. Let's say you're very disciplined, you have a very well written what we call the budget of whatever you want to go buy in a supermarket, and then you show up, you're confirming from your budget thing that you want to buy, and then all of a sudden as you move in those streets of supermarket, you meet a certain product that actually is on promotion, and then you realize maybe let's say this product is a detergent and maybe it's selling at 1017 shillings. By the way, they usually have a very weird kind of figures in terms of pricing, and then all of a sudden that aside there is a certain attached a small detergent on top of it, and then you realize, wow, I think if I can just buy this bigger one, I get this one smaller one at a profit, or maybe just like I'm given for free. Let me tell you one thing when it comes to selling. This is called what we call the psychology of selling. The reality and the fact remains there is nothing like promotion on earth. There is nothing like promotion. What happens is this. These people, they sit down, they look at the product that they have actually stayed in shelving and they have not sold all these products. So what they do to make them sell these products, they sit down with pen and paper and calculate and realize this product, they are either about to go bad. So what they do is that they take those products and use them because they don't want to dispose them. Of course, that means losses. Okay, so what they do, they sell them at a quote-unquote discounted product or the discounted price, but in real sense it's not a discounted price. So what happened is this: now they attach those products and then sell the product that they are aiming to sell. All right, so what happened is this: those products are never at discounted prices, or they are not even at a promotional prices. What makes whenever you buy those products is that you do what you call the thrift shopping, and there is nothing worse with your money than thrift shopping. Thrift shopping basically means that you buying that specific product or an item that you had not planned for. If you go back to the list that you had written, wherever you wanted to buy those things, it is not there, it is not captured. But that is a money that you've bought something that is not even related to what you had budgeted for. Now that means that you leave more money in that specific premise than you had planned for. All right, so we go to product number 2. These are common things that you and me know very well. There are things called that internet. Of course, where we are right now, you cannot be able to ignore internet. Right now, you're watching this video courtesy of internet. Of course, you must have connected yourself to an internet. There is these things called buying of bundles, and there's something called poor or poverty tax. Poverty tax is whereby you realize, like, because you want to appear as if you're frugal or you're minimalist, you know how to save, you don't want to misuse your money, so you only buy a product when you need it and you buy in small quantities. Now that gets you into a problems. There's some people or some individuals I used to interact with them back then when I had not this information. I used to those guys, they used to do what we call either postpaid the products when in this telecom industries and what have you, and they used to buy, like, let's say at the beginning of the month the guy purchases like 2,000 product over something like minutes and then internet and what have you, messages and what. Then you tend to think like these guys have money to misuse or waste or something. That is not the reality. The fact remains that these guys, they're not misusing their money. What they're doing is that they're calculating the amount of money or the amount of advantage they get once they purchase this thing in a holistic manner. Say you get somebody who is taking like 2,000 in a single month. Basically, that individual is like consuming 60 shillings, or let's say 62 or 63 shillings in a single day. But you're out there, you're consuming like over 100 or 150 shillings per day buying bundles. You want to stream, you want to watch YouTube videos, you want to watch TikTok and whatever and all those kind of things. So that actually consumes you more money than you actually think, and that's the reality. So tend to sit down and budget yourself, do the average and ask yourself, like, how much do I consume in terms of internet calling, messages and what have you. So if you realize this is a certain amount of money, then go check what we call the volume kind of a purchase, and then you see, compare what you usually do and then what they're offering, and then if what they're offering in terms of buying in volumes, then it's actually more better than what you're buying using the smaller one. And again, at the end of the day, you can buy but still consume like the entire messages within 2 days. There must call a discipline for you to actually incorporate that. So those are things that I do not buy. I don't buy those daily internet. I would rather get myself my Wi-Fi, or maybe I buy a monthly internet or something of sort. So let's go to number 3. So you go to number 3 is that you find there are these guys who usually feel like, okay, fine, I don't want to cook, I don't want to do my things, I just want to, go out there, take my breakfast in a hotel, take my lunch in a hotel, take my supper in a hotel, just in them, I don't want to wash dishes and what have you, I don't want to do utensils and what have you. And you find these guys actually, they think that they're saving money, but in real sense you find these guys, they're not actually saving any cash, for because at the end of the day, that food that guy could have done set their budget is, and then go back home and prepare their food and actually live in a better life and actually save yourself a couple of shillings, instead of you going out there consuming like the entire day. You consume your lunch, you consume your breakfast, and you consume your supper. Okay, with the cases of lunch, say you work from outside from home, then that's okay, that's understandable if you cannot be able to pack your lunch. But again, you consuming even your supper from outside, then that is ill-informed and it's not called for, and that can actually get yourself into problems. So what you're supposed to do, learn to do what we call, learn to do what we call budgeting yourself and cooking from home. And from that particular point, you realize that you save a lot of money than you think. This message is quite good for those guys who are called singles, those guys who have not yet married in one way or the other. All right, so the other one is, find that there are these products that are usually sold outside the supermarket. Let's say you still go to the supermarket, you do all your things, or maybe there's convenience store and you do all your shoppings and what have you. As you pop out of the market and you're going back home, and then you realize there are people who usually hang around them. All the due respect to them, those are guys there, they're actually hustling and trying to make their ends meet. But maybe they're selling something like popcorn, they're selling some fruits and what have you, some ginger, some, you get all those things, but you had no budget of buying those kind of things. And then you're like, let me just grab myself like a 50 shillings, a bucket of popcorn, or 101 or 1,000, all those kind of things. And then you realize one thing, there are these things, we call them the impulse buying. Impulse buying actually usually gets yourself into problems or into troubles. What you're supposed to understand is this: get used to actually knowing very well, as much as I'm gonna pop out in that specific hotel or that supermarket, I'm still have a plan of actually like 100 or 200 shillings aside for me to buy that pop-up. If you budget for that, then that's a good one. But if you haven't budget for it, then just ignore it and keep moving. But again, don't budget it for the sake of actually justifying yourself misusing your money. So because you might like, okay, fine, Joseph said like we should budget for it, and by the way, I'm gonna budget for it and I'm gonna make sure that at least I buy that. You get what I'm saying? So what you're supposed to do is to make sure that at least you budget for that specific thing that you want to buy. Because in most cases you find that things this called the impulse buying. And what you're supposed to understand is that a lot of money usually tends to go in those products than you usually plan for. If you were to sit down with pen and paper and actually try to figure out where are those impulse buying products that usually send there or usually purchase, usually consume a lot of money in a given month. All right, so we go to the last one but not the least. This is number 5, and it's about going out there, buying yourself that coffee and actually making yourself feel happy like regularly. And by the way, you aren't doing that specific thing because you want to make a deal or you want to break a deal or something of sort. You're just showing up in that specific coffee place just because you want to feel good, and you're doing so Monday, Tuesday up to Sunday, like throughout the week. Let's say you're doing that like 4 times or 5 times, and at the end of the day, you aren't there to meet good people, you aren't there to make deals, you aren't there to make any. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's not good to take those coffees, and I always advise people one at a time is good to usually show up in those elegant places, because once you interact with these guys who have money, you tend to relate what they're doing, and actually you can create friends from there. Because I always say that your net worth is always your network, all right, or your network is always your network, whichever the way you get it. All right, so the point is this: it is good to get those regular coffees, but don't make it like a day habit, like it's the only place that usually take a coffee. There are people who tend to make it look like it's the only place that usually take a coffee. But guess my point. If you were out there, you've made a lot of money, you invested in different areas, well and good. I'm talking about people who haven't yet made their ends meet, but you're still trying to make it look like as if you have, but you haven't. So what you're supposed to do is that if you were to make that coffee from home, I bet you're gonna make it at way, maybe 3 or 4 times less than that price that you could have bought at that particular place that usually find that is your maybe let's say it's your favorite place where you usually buy your coffee. So at all the occasion, make sure that whatever you're buying, you've budgeted for, you know what it is and you know how much it costs, and you actually do your price before you actually purchase that specific thing. Perhaps if I can add you a bonus on top of that, as always on this good Joseph channel. And by the way, if you've not to subscribe to this channel. If this is a cup of coffee, it's a thing that you'd like to hear most of the time on how you're supposed to invest your money and save your money. I am Joseph, talk about money. And by the way, take 1 second, doesn't cost anything. By the way, it's free. Just down below there is a button written subscribe. Hit it, just mash that subscription button. Like this video, there is a like button out there. Comment down below, tell me what are those areas that usually consume your money, and actually make sure that if you're in a position to, you can share this video to your friends, so that we bring a lot of guys here. We create a very nice family where we can be able to help each other. So back to what I was saying. So it is good to make sure that at least you understand very well where your money is going. For example, take an example of this. Like, of course, there are some people who usually do what you call the black tax. And the black tax is the money that usually support your family members. Can be the family you left, or the family that you've created, or the family that came out of you. So whatever you're doing these things, it's good to make sure that you've already have their budget. If let's say back at home, usually they send like 10,000, 20,000, depends with your capacity, 2,000, couple of hundreds, okay? So it is good to make sure that you've already captured that. You know very well, at the end of the month, at the end of the week, at the end of the day, or whichever the period that you get paid, then you know very well there is a certain amount of money that I have to send back home. Say you educate your brother. It's a thing with your family. I cannot be able to get in between you guys. So if you know very well this is what you do, then make sure that you've already budgeted for that, you've captured that in your budget, and then ask yourself, that kind of a life that you're living in, is it below, at par, or above your means? Because if it's at par or above your means, then I can assure you it would never ever let you stretch yourself and move to the next level. Let me tell you one secret. We always use the surplus for savings. And by the way, I hate using the term savings. It's about storing and accumulating. Now you use that storage money, you take it and go and invest somewhere. You increase multiple streams of income. Well, you know what? It takes an average of 7 streams of income for a typical millionaire to be who they are as millionaires. So it's gonna take yourself some couple of time. You have to create all those multiple streams of income, because at the end of the day, you never know. By the way, if you never taught, or you never got any lesson back in 2020 when we had Corona, then I do not know when you are waiting to get a new lesson. You're supposed to understand that at that particular point, a lot of people had a very nice and good job. Some of them were fired up to date. They have never recovered. So you're supposed to understand is that it's always good to have something that is out there that is making you money in extras, compared to you just relying on that job that you've employed. Okay, so it's always good to make sure that at least you do something for your life. So my name is Joseph, as always, and by the way, I post a video every day concerning about money. That's my investment. And maybe you're out there, you're a bit confused, you would like to start a business, but you do not know exactly how to go about it. And this is where I come in. I have booklets about business plans, about business ideas. I have booklets about investments, likes of money market fund, treasury bills, something like circles. I know those kind of things. So you can grab a copy for you. It's only 220. My number is on the description of this specific video. You can take it, give me a call. For if you would like to get financial consultation, or if you'd like to get any business advisory, or you would like to get any of my booklets, you can give me that call with using that number, and we get started. For the books, it's only 220. For the ready business plans, it's only 280 shillings. We get communicated and we move to the next level. Then I always say, comment down below there, tell me what you think, because I subscribe to the understanding, just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. So stick around and make sure that you watch this video and to the end. And by the way, make sure to subscribe for the next or future video. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.